it's huge. It is, especially in the hospitality industry in the United States. Um, and I speak to that because I've never worked in China, I've never worked in, in South America, but the diversity of the associates in any hotel, and I've worked in maybe 10 or so now, is humongous. That, you're working with any continent. I have a manager from Croatia, coincidentally, actually. There is somebody from India. There's somebody from China. There's somebody from Senegal. There's like, everybody has roots from somewhere. Some, are second or third generation, but very many of them, have were born somewhere else and came here when they were 10 or 20 or 30. So it's vital. If you are not open to other cultures, if you're just going by what you are comfortable with or familiar with, you're shooting yourself in the foot. You're not allowing for additional experiences. You're not allowing for, in-depth relationships, really, with people who are just different from what you are used to. But also, that's just the associate base. It's also your customers who are coming from everywhere, and therefore you are organizing or your hotel might be organizing bar and bat mitzvahs. Your hotel might have quinceañeras. Your hotel might have sweet 16s. Like, if you are not culturally aware, an Indian wedding is completely different than a wedding from, Korea. And you do need to know those differences, because you cannot approach your customers the same way. So yes, it's vital. There's no ifs and buts about it. So for me, the biggest learning, so in personal development, was how to soften the Dutch bluntness, the Dutch directness. The Dutch are known for being straightforward, but in addition to that, our accent makes it a little bit harsh. The way we speak English makes it a little bit harsher than somebody coming from Spain or from, I don't know, somewhere else. And our expectations are generally quite high. We expect for people to be on time. We expect for people to have done their homework. We expect for people to, understand what's going on. And those combinations generally make us come across as rather standoffish or, just really direct. I cannot tell you how many times I've been told, well, if we ever want an honest opinion, we'll just go to Frederike. I never truly thought that I was so blunt or so, direct. But how the Dutch are, you cannot be in most countries. You really have to scale it back. You have to tone it down. You have to go around it. You have to force yourself to first ask how they're doing, to first ask, what is your input, and, and then give your opinion. Whereas the Dutch people are generally very straightforward in saying, well, this is how I would do it. That is something I had to really, really learn, because it kind of goes against your nature, right? You've been taught to, you're valued by giving your opinion. It's a positive thing. It's something that, kids have been taught from young on. So especially in the beginning of my career, anytime I had an annual review, again and again, I was told, well, just be careful how you approach people, and just, make sure that you, that you stay approachable, that you, so that's something I really had to mindful or consciously work on and say, okay, I don't agree with it. I have to mind my face. I have to mind my body language. I have to mind what the first words are that I talk about, sandwiching your messaging, right? Positive, then always ending with something that gets it back to a constructive level. I think that for Dutch people, that is the biggest learning. So I've had one or two sales managers who from their custom, from their upbringing, were quite used to having their assistants do for them what they needed from them, which is the assistant's job, but it depends a little bit on how you ask them, right? So I've had one sales manager who would just assign her tasks to her administrative assistant without much fluff, just like, hey, I need this, this, and this, I need this contract generated, and if you can call this customer back for me, and it needs to be done by 5 p.m. And that particular assistant was saying, okay, she treats me like, I don't mean anything to her. She treats me just like, you would a dog. Really had to make sure to mediate between the two of them for the sales manager to change her approach in order for the administrative assistant to do what was expected of her, because that just created tension. And that has to do with cultural differences, because that sales manager wasn't really aware that she was doing anything wrong. It wasn't her intention to put the admin down. It was just, matter of fact, she just needed this stuff done. But the admin was really sensitive for how it was brought to her, how it, how it was presented to her. So those are things you need to get on the table, outspoken, see, what's the messaging behind there? How do you come across? How is it received? So that you can clear the air. But if you don't do that, you'll get tension in your team that's not resolvable.